As Martin Luther King Jr. said, a genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a moulder for consensus.
Also known as laissez-faire leadership, which means without interference. Delegative leadership allows leaders to take a backstep approach in order to offload responsibilities onto those who perhaps have more experience in certain fields than they do. In doing so, arguably, you can get a better productive outcome. Personally, I think delegative leadership has the potential to be such a wonderful method that can further the outcomes of societal needs. Whether you have expertise in one area, multiple, or none, this leadership style can often lead to a decision being made which gives communities exactly what they need, through the distribution of resources, offering advice and guidance to those who are working together to bring change in their community, rather than what we as practitioners want to see for ourselves. One example of this leadership method in action can be found at the highest level of international politics. Former US President Ronald Reagan famously took on a delegative leadership style approach when appointing members to his cabinet in order to make up for shortcomings in areas that he may not have had influential knowledge on, such as education, healthcare and agriculture.
The leadership theory I have chosen to talk about within this group work project is participative leadership. What is this leadership approach? Well, everyone's input is considered, however, the decision is made by the leader in comparison to democratic leadership where a vote will be taken, so there will be an equal say in the ultimate decision. Well, actually, during my research, I found that there are 4 styles of participative leadership, of which democracy is one, and the other 3 are collective, autocratic, and consensus. The political leadership system in this country follows the participative leadership approach. Therefore, we are all involved in this and we choose whether we want to vote or not. Every time there is an election, it is the start of a conversation or new debates. This is the democratic part of participative leadership. We all vote, however, once a leader is chosen, they take forward the best possible decisions for the country and their constituencies.
Authoritarianism is a useful method of leadership within CLD when situations require control or are heading towards disarray. An example of this would be using mediation when 2 parties are in disagreement and can't come to a consensus. As a leader, you could use this style to take control of the situation, deeming when both parties are maybe able to talk and give each other a chance to hear what the other has to say, and hopefully come to a mutually agreed solution.
My leadership theory is transformational leadership. Inspirational motivation. The foundation of transformational leadership is the promotion of constant vision, mission, and a set of values to the members. Their vision is so compelling that they know what they want from every interaction. Idealism, influence. They believe that the philosophy of a leader can influence the followers only when he or she practices what they preach. The leaders act as a role model that followers seek to emulate. Such leaders always win the trust and respect of their followers through their actions. It relates to CLD by investing in people, by encouraging others to see the potential in themselves. The purpose of this is to help the learners see that they can do it and help them see it in themselves. Idealism influence is the charismatic element of transformational leadership, in which the leaders become role models who are admired, respected, and emulated by followers.
I think the purpose of leadership in a CLD context is to bring people together and support their success and empowerment in a respectful and kind way.
Leadership is often viewed as making the decisions on behalf of those that you represent, similar to political leadership. However, in a CLD context, leadership can often be as simplistic as listening to others, showing compassion and kindness, or giving a citizen the opportunity to take part in the decision-making process with their own voice, rather than simply through somebody who might not understand the issue that community faces.
Participative leadership is related to CLD in many ways, although I think being person-centred and allowing everyone to have a say and bringing their opinions forward is one of the best ways that we can relate it back to CLD. I think it shows that everyone can have different views but still come together and accept a common goal or objective. Relating it back to competent practitioners is important to facilitate and promote community empowerment. This way of leading a group allows all participants to engage in the decision-making process.
As community education practitioners, our role is to empower citizens to make the decisions that will better impact their communities in the long term. In doing so, we give them the resources that they need in order to make the decisions without practitioners making them that might actually cause more harm than intended. As part of my final 2 years at secondary school, I served as a mentor in violence prevention, which aimed to address the issue of gender-based violence to S1 and S2 pupils and how we as a society have to change. Through this, we delivered sessions which ranged from a variety of topics such as bullying, domestic violence and harmful sexual behaviour. Whilst such an important opportunity, the biggest problem that remains is those who are not paying attention, meaning that instead of standing in front of a class for an hour talking about these horrendous issues, we have to create a more natural flowing conversation to address this issue by sitting down kids and asking for their opinions and how they see these issues in everyday life.
As a cheerleading coach, I've been a leader to many young people, kids, and adults. Goleman states perfectly about developing leaders for life as a coach. He talks about creating long-term strategies through coaching leadership, about combining personal goals and club objectives to come to a consensus in learning and leadership. As a sports coach, I lead by example. I create routines which start from where the young person is at and progresses at their own pace.
I've been working with North Ayrshire Council's CLD service under one of their adult learning community workers. The piece of work that I've been doing is with the Garnet Valley Men's Shed, facilitating a social isolation project where they received funding for iPads and MiFi devices to give our members of the shed who are at risk of being in social isolation due to the current COVID-19 pandemic. These individuals may not have access to internet or devices. This is the reason why we're giving them to basically help them get connected online and stay in touch with everyone else. The project involves taking leadership by giving them the devices and supporting them and setting up the devices and supporting them with any issues that they may have as well. In doing this project has been a really great opportunity to keep in touch with the shedders and making sure that they're okay and that they're not suffering through this, that their mental health is in check. It's also been a great learning opportunity in how to keep in touch with people and having to think about it differently with the current restrictions. The whole project has helped the shedders be empowered by supporting them with iPads and getting online. They're also supported ongoingly, but left to their own devices to explore and learn for themselves.
Empowering learners is such a huge part of what we do, regardless of the domain that we focus in. In my previous placement, I worked with some of the most quietest kids in the youth centre that they had to work with. Through different forms of engagement, such as the Spaghetti and Marshmallow Tower Challenge, to simply playing pool and having a conversation, I saw these young people open up more over the course of the 4 months that I was there than what staff had saw previously in the last 2 to 3 months. By asking young people to arrange themselves into groups of people they've never worked with before, I gave them the task of working through various puzzle-solving exercises with different roles, such as spokesperson, facilitator and planner. At the beginning of every task, each young person had to swap roles, which led to a wider variety of methods being showcased, allowing everyone present, volunteers, young people and staff, to see what leadership in action looks like.
Another more personal example of participative leadership is there is a mutual respect between the leader and the rest of the group. So for me, in a youth work setting, I found working on a programme that both meets the needs of young people and staff, including funders, will bring the right balance for both parties together. This therefore meets the needs and objectives for all or the majority of the group, both young people or funders.
In my personal opinion, I feel this is a good leadership skill to have. As a facilitator I was working with helped me to see the potential in myself, which has started my journey to where I am now. I feel that if we have more transformational leaders, then we would have more people working within our communities.
My personal thoughts on authoritarianism is that it's a very useful technique in leadership, but it also has its drawbacks because there are too many opportunities for it to go wrong and potentially damage your relationship with the community members that you're working with. And you don't really want that. You don't want the community members to think, oh, this person's just telling me what to do. That's not why I'm here, because that doesn't support a community spirit, in my opinion.
For me personally, I consider every day as a learning day as a leader. With this attitude, you can approach every situation with an open mindset. Empowering learning is starting from a mutual perspective, admitting when you don't know something as a leader, and motivating others and challenging others' views in a constructive manner.
Whilst I still might be a newcomer to the concept of youth and community work and still have a long way to go, the skills and knowledge that I have gained over the last few years have been invaluable. Through the Mentor and Violence Prevention Programme to the introduction of digital-based youth work where young people can be creative through education using computer programming and music, it's clear that regardless of the opportunity, there is always something new to learn and that there is so much potential in critical youth work to empower learners in any situation.